Hi guys, here's your ultimate guide to Battlefield 6, covering everything you need to know about the game, talking classes, game modes, some of the changes they've made this year, and plenty more information that you need to know right now. So without further ado, let's get started. To begin with, what sets Battlefield 6 apart from the other games on the market? Primarily, it's the big team battles, it's the destruction, it's the groundedness, and it's the fact that Call of Duty for several years has been in Nicki Minajville and people are sick of it. So instead of all that, you come over to Battlefield 6 and you play a much more grounded shooter with much more grounded aesthetics. And while it's not trying to be military accurate, exact real life all the time, it is at least trying to give you a sense of groundedness and a sense of some realism. The destruction in Battlefield 6 is also some of the best I think it's ever been. It's fantastic. And the sort of golden rule with this is if there's a building that you can run into and climb up stairs inside and stuff like that, it's usually something you can also blow apart as well. There are a couple of exceptions, but for the most part, nearly everything is demolishable in Battlefield 6. But if it's like a building you can't go into, usually those ones are a bit more sturdy and can't be destroyed in the same way. Also, a real distinguishing factor in Battlefield compared to some other shooters like Call of Duty is that in this, it's really encouraged to play the objective. And that means capturing points and stuff like that for your team, but it also means doing things like repairing your teammates' vehicles and contributing to the broader team effort, reviving your teammates as much as you can, like all those sorts of things. You'll notice as you do that, you'll actually go up the scoreboard as well. So you can finish a game of Battlefield with 3 kills, but you can still be top 5 on the leaderboard just because you were being such a strong team player. It's called PTFOing, which I won't spell out for you, but it's hopefully pretty self-explanatory that playing the objective is important in Battlefield 6. So what are the game modes? What's available to you, right? Well, this year we've got some big team game modes, they're large scale, and some small team game modes. So let's start with Breakthrough. This is basically large scale rush that we'll talk about in a minute. As attackers, you're going to need to capture sectors and push the enemy to retreat zone by zone. In Conquest, you are fighting over different objective points and it's very large scale. There's Domination, which is infantry only, and this is quite simply about holding objectives for as long as you can. It's just like Call of Duty, really. Escalation requires you to fight against the enemy to hold more objectives than them, and there's also like taking territory involved there as well. There's a lot of taking territory across all of these modes. I feel like that's a Battlefield staple as well. You've also got King of the Hill, and this is pretty self-explanatory. And then there's Rush, which is one of the Battlefield community's fan favorite modes from over the years. In this, for the attacking team, you destroy objectives and push forward through different zones of enemy territory. And then you've got Squad Deathmatch, which is a squad free-for-all 4v4v4v4. It's pretty hectic. It's very fast-paced. And you've got Team Deathmatch, which is just a standard Team Deathmatch. Now, it's worth noting that there is a ticketing system in Battlefield games, which means that when you look at the top of your screen in the game itself, you'll see a number near your kind of team, and that indicates how many total respawns your team has left. So if that number says 10, then it means that all it will take is 10 people dying, like bleeding out dead and then respawning to eat up those remaining respawn tokens, and then boom, you're out of tickets, and if you haven't completed your objectives when your tickets run out, your game ends and you lose. So tickets are a very important resource. Do not squander them. Be very careful to try and protect those tickets as much as you can. So let's talk classes. There are 4 classes: Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon, and each one has its own specific playstyle. To start with Assault, it gives you a bonus to assault rifles, obviously, and has a class-specific adrenaline injector gadget. This boosts your sprint speed and gives you resistance to certain grenades and explosives. And you can equip a 3rd weapon from the carbine, DMR, or shotgun offerings. Next is Engineer. This is your class if you want to blow stuff up. There's anti-vehicle launchers, explosives, and anti-vehicle grenades to choose from, and it also has a repair tool for vehicles, SMG proficiency, and engineers have a passive that prevents enemies from entering your vehicles while you're repairing them, even if all other teammates of yours have already jumped out. Then third, we have support. These are no longer just medics. They also supply allies with ammo as well, and they specialize in LMGs, and squad mates can interact with them to gain health and ammo. Another nice thing about medics is they can pick up and carry players, and they have defibrillators defibs, which can instantly revive players as well. And you can even kill people with defibs too. Finally, we have the Recon class, and this is your sniper class. If you're sniping, you're playing Recon most likely. Aiming at hostiles is going to spot them, and that's going to mark their location for teammates on the minimap and in the world. And Recon also comes with a motion sensor as well. And yes, it comes with a bonus to sniper rifles. You guessed it. But if you're wondering, if you're thinking, dude, I want to use a sniper, but I also want to repair my tank, right? You can totally do that. You just won't get the sniper bonus associated with the Recon class, because to be able to repair your tank, you need to be playing Engineer. If you see people in the Battlefield community talking about locked versus unlocked loadouts, or open versus closed loadouts, this is the discussion they're talking about. Unlocked or open loadouts means you can use any weapon with any class, whereas closed loadouts or locked loadouts means that only specific weapons can be used by certain classes. Whereas in open or unlocked loadouts, you can basically use anything anywhere. And that's more or less how it works in Battlefield 6. You've got unlocked loadouts for the most part. For each class, you can customize a loadout, and you also have the ability to unlock 2 additional loadout slots. One of those ways to do that is leveling up your account, and another is by unlocking other training paths. These give your class 3 passive abilities when you reach score thresholds in a match. So you can kind of think of this like a COD Killstreaks specialist meter type situation that does not reset on death. You can only unlock additional training paths by completing class assignment challenges though. So let's talk about those now. You're going to need to go to the challenge menu, then go to class challenges, then hit level 20 to unlock the challenge. And when you do, you must then complete the first 2 challenges for each class to unlock their additional training path. Now, regardless of your selected training path, each class has an active ability, or ultimate ability, you could call it, that unlocks after reaching the 4th score killstreak threshold. I'm hesitant to use that word, but killstreak threshold in a match. So for Assault, your Assault active ability means that you and your squad gain adrenaline, which is extended by getting kills. For Engineer, your active ability is your Repair tool gains plus 50% fixing efficiency for 10 seconds. The Support active ability resupplies and heals nearby teammates for 10 seconds and shortens revive time to 1.7 seconds. And the Recon active ability means you have a 100-meter radius UAV that spots enemies for 60 seconds. Now, on top of all that stuff, there's even more assignments to do that unlock different weapons and different gadgets, so it's worth taking a look at their requirements here. This is where you want to look. Now, lastly, on the topic of loadouts, you can customize loadouts for vehicles as well. And this will let you give your tank anti-infantry explosives or change what kind of turret it has. Like, you got options. And you've also got skins as well. They're not going to be crazy Call of Duty, Candy Cane, Nicki Minaj skins, but there are skins. And there are skins for weapons as well, and for the characters. And there are also weapon camos which are tied to specific weapons that are unlocked for all guns once their challenges are complete. So if you want all the camos, you need to rank up all the weapons in the game to kind of cross-pollinate your camos across all of the different guns. So with all that said, let's run through some quick tips right now to make you a Battlefield Pro in 60 seconds flat. So number 1, you can double tap crouch to slide. And you can go to crouch while sprinting to sprint while crouching. This is a new feature in this game, and it's absolutely crazy. It makes you look like a little hobbit running around. Next, you might be surprised to hear this, but weapons have bloom the longer you fire in Battlefield. So burst fire to reduce bloom and increase accuracy at range. Also, as you might expect, moving while firing also decreases accuracy. So standing still and crouching gives the best results. But if you want to go even further still, you can also mount your weapons on surfaces while aiming down sights and hitting the appropriate keybind. And then you'll really be anchored in place and ready to fire some laser beams. Now, another important feature to understand in Battlefield is suppression. This is when you are firing at someone, but you're not hitting them. Because what this does is it disables their health regen. So if you tag them and you keep firing, you will suppress the enemy, preventing them from healing, and then maybe a teammate can get the kill easily, or maybe you can. Now, the exception to this that you need to be aware of is that you can still heal from a support kit while suppressed, so don't get caught out by that. Now, another thing I see a lot of COD players players doing in Battlefield is the second they die, they just instantly try to auto-respawn. But it's not always a good idea. Sometimes it's much better to request a revive and to hang around for a second, because respawning is going to consume a ticket for your team. And like I said before, those tickets are often in short supply, so don't be frivolous with the tickets. Instead, be frugal and try to just get revived instead and avoid using a revive ticket if it can be helped. And speaking of revives, you can now revive anyone in your squad regardless of your class, and you can drag their bodies away to a safe place if they're in your squad as well. Now, medics have the added ability, like I mentioned earlier, of being able to carry players, but if someone's in your squad and you're just a regular engineer or something, you can still drag them. Also, a complete aside here, unrelated to anything else I've just said, is that crossplay is forced on if you're on PC, but if you're on console, you can turn it off if you want to get rid of all those annoying PC players in your lobbies. With those out of the way, let's go through some settings to make your life easier. Some of these will apply to console, some of them are just for PC. So first of all, anytime in any game you see things like film grain, vignette, chromatic aberration, get rid of those. You also want to reduce your camera shake as much as you can to the lowest setting, and any motion blurs that are turned on, you should be turning off. So that's world motion blur and weapon motion blur. You also probably want to make sure your weapon FOV is wide and your vehicle third person FOV is maxed out. And finally, for your actual field of view, I like playing around 105 or 110. But bear in mind, if you've got like really bad eyesight, for example, if you actually play with a lower FOV, it's going to mean that you're slightly more zoomed in and it's easier to see things that are far away in the center of your screen. So if your eyesight is clapped, then lower your FOV, but if your eyesight is good, then sure, feel free to crank it to the max. On top of those settings, to help with your FPS, I recommend turning down things like effects quality, volumetric quality, lighting quality, and reflection quality. And believe me, the game will still look lovely, you'll just save some frames from doing this. Next, let's talk about XP. You're going to want to head to the challenge tab first of all here, and I'm going to show you some of the best ways to earn XP. On this tab, you've got 3 daily challenges, which grant around 3.5k XP, and 10 weeklies that grant anywhere from 3k to about 10k. Now on this screen, you can select and track up to 4 challenges at any time, and you'll be able to see those in the pause menu as you play. And there's some challenges that are going to give you double XP boosts as well, so make sure you're tracking those too. Once you earn them, you can activate them in the XP boosts tab in the top right, but be wary because once activated, they start counting down, and I believe they count menu time as well. It's not only game time, I think, so be careful. Another XP related tip actually while we're on the topic is you get 5% more XP when queuing with a squad mate. So if you've got friends, then EA is rewarding you, and if you don't have friends, then EA is punishing you for being a loser. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, that's kind of what's happening there. Trust me, I'm queuing on my own 90% of the time in these sorts of games, so you're not alone, bros. So, speaking of having friends, oh man, yeah, I've really dug this hole deep, haven't I? Speaking of having friends, something that many of you guys will have done in the past is you'll have jumped on games like Halo 3 back in the day and played some Forge with your buddies. And the same thing is in Battlefield 6, except it's called the Portal in this game. Now, the Portal is not a new feature in Battlefield. It has been in previous Battlefield games, and it sucked in those games, candidly. The thing that makes it a bit different in Battlefield 6 is that the tools are a bit more extensive for what people can make with it. And so this is going to evolve over the course of the year, and it's going to be cool because you do earn XP in the Portal. So if you want to play those custom game modes that people make, you absolutely can, and you'll still level up, which is great. And this will transform a huge amount over time. And so what I think I'm going to do is on screen right now, I'm going to link a deeper dive into the Portal, which I'll make once people have made some more game modes, because we just need some time to pass for that to happen. And I'll also link a deep dive into the Battle Royale, which is a big component of what Battlefield 6 is bringing to the table this year. And that will be all contained in its own video. So click through to whichever one of those interests you the most, and I'll see you there. Bye for now.